Hello friends, today we are going to discuss about the lactation. It is very small and yet very frequently asked topic in exam as well as in Viva. So let's get started. So first thing first, the phases of the lactation. So there are four phases of a lactation. First phase is known as the memogenesis. Now memogenesis means that preparation of a breast for a milk secretion. We have to prepare the breast, we have to develop the breast in order to synthesize milk. Second one is the lactogenesis. So in lactogenesis, the actual synthesis and secretion of the milk will take place. Third phase is the galactokinesis. Galactokinesis means the expulsion of a milk, and last phase is the galactopoiesis, and the meaning of galactopoiesis is the maintenance of a lactation. So these are the four phases of the lactation. First is the memogenesis, preparation of a breast; lactogenesis, secretion of a milk; galactokinesis, expulsion of the milk outside the breast; and last one is the galactopoiesis, maintenance of a lactation. So there are certain hormones that are responsible for all these phases. So let's discuss the hormone responsible for the lactation. Now, as we already discussed in detail about the effect of estrogen and progesterone over the breast development, so the estrogen and progesterone are the main hormone responsible for the development of a breast, that is the memogenesis. Now, as far as the lactogenesis is concerned, the synthesis and secretion of the milk will take place only and only when there is a prolactin. So prolactin is the lactogenic hormone. Galactokinesis, in order to expel the milk, we have to constrict the myoepithelium of the breast. So in order to do that, there is a hormone known as oxytocin. That oxytocin is basically responsible for galactokinesis. And the last phase is the galactopoiesis. So for the maintenance of the lactation, again prolactin will work, and the prolactin will make sure that the female will be lactate for about 1 or 2 years as the child need. So galactopoiesis is done by prolactin. So let's discuss these phases one by one. Memogenesis. So in order to understand the memogenesis, let's understand the anatomy of the breast. The breast has a lobe. Basically there are 20 lobes. Each lobe is made up of lobule. Inside the lobule there is a alveoli and terminal duct. So let me show you a diagram so you can easily understand what are this structure is look like. So you can see that this is the entire structure is situated in entire lobe. Now this lobe is made up of various lobules. Now inside this lobule there are alveolus, same as a lung, and there are ducts. So in order to develop the breast, we have to develop the alveolus, we have to develop the duct, and we have to develop the lobule. Got it? So let's understand the ductal growth. So see, suppose in very initial phases of breast development, the duct will be look like this. In order to what is the duct growth? The duct growth is just branching of a duct like this. As the branching will take place, as the duct will divide, that is duct will be present over here, the lactiferous duct over here. Once this duct will be divide and make more branches, then the alveolar growth will come into the action. Then alveolus and lobule will be developed. So next phase is the lobulo-alveolar growth. So it will be look like this. Got it? So first thing, this is the lactiferous duct. This lactiferous duct will be just make a more branch. Then as the branches will develop, then at the end of each branch there is a development of the alveolus and lobule. Got it? So the duct growth is done by the estrogen that we already discussed in the female reproductive cycle, and the lobulo-alveolar growth, the next phase of memogenesis, is done by the progesterone. So estrogen is basically designed to increase the duct growth and the branching, and the next function of the estrogen is that it increases the deposition of a fat. Got it? Now one more thing, as the estrogen increase the deposition of the fat, so adipose tissue is more inside a breast, right? Now this adipose tissue express a particular enzyme known as aromatase. That aromatase enzyme is basically accumulated inside the tissue. So once the adrenal androgen approach to the breast, this aromatase enzyme will convert that adrenal androgen into the estrogen locally. Got it? So inside the breast, due to higher amount of the adipose tissue, that adipose tissue will express the aromatase enzyme. That aromatase enzyme will convert the adrenal androgen that reach to the breast by the blood supply, convert the adrenal androgen into the estrogen. So local production of the estrogen will also be increased, and that local production will give again increase the ductal and branching of this duct, and again it increase the deposition of the fat. Alright, this is all about the mammogenesis. Now next phase is the lactogenesis. Now in order to start synthesizing and secretion of the milk, we need an enzyme known as prolactin. Now here's the thing, prolactin level is high during the entire pregnancy, but yet there is no milk secretion. Got it? So there is something that is inhibiting the milk secretion. That inhibition is the higher amount of estrogen and progesterone that is situated present in higher amount inside the maternal circulation. So yet prolactin is there during the pregnancy in the higher level, but due to presence of higher amount of the estrogen as well as the progesterone, both these hormone will ultimately inhibit the prolactin level. Now which hormone is going to inhibit the lactogenesis? So there are two books, both the books will be give two different set of the enzyme. According to the Mosby Mono series of the endocrine physiology, they say that the progesterone is going to inhibit the lactogenesis, while the Gannon 25th edition it tells that estrogen is going to inhibit the lactogenesis. So do not confuse with these two different books, just make sure that you write it down both the hormone. So estrogen and progesterone will inhibit the production of the milk, so there are no milk secretion. So what changes after the parturition, after the birth of a child? So after parturition there is a sharp fall in estrogen and in progesterone. You see, estrogen and progesterone is actually secreted by placenta. So after the parturition, the placenta will be dislodged and it will be removed from the uterine cavity. So this main source of the estrogen and progesterone get lost. So basically there are sharp fall in estrogen and progesterone, and the removal of this inhibition causes the lactogenesis, and the prolactin secretion is still high and it leads to the lactogenesis. Now in most animal, milk secretion occurs within an hour after delivery, but in women it takes 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 days for the milk to come in. Got it? One more thing that I would like to highlight is the witch's milk. What is witch's milk? Right, witch is shown in the inside this thing. This is the witch. Now this particular topic is given in the book named Soumi Sarkar. So let's understand what is witch's milk. Now once the lactation is start, it is not now inhibited by the progesterone, because after the birth, as the placenta will be removed, there are no any sources of the progesterone or the estrogen. And one more thing that's happened is that progesterone receptor is also lost in the lactating woman. Got it? Now due to the higher amount of prolactin, there are chances that this prolactin might enter inside the fetus, inside the newborn. So small amount of milk is secreted in newborn. Right? Small amount of the milk is secretion occur in newborn due to the effect of the maternal prolactin. Got it? That small amount of the milk that is produced by the fetus, it is shown in this diagram, it is known as witch's milk. Got it? So there are chances that in new comments might be like this, what is witch's milk? So you have to write it down like this. Once the lactation is started, it is not inhibited by the progesterone. Small amount of the milk is secreted by the newborn due to the maternal prolactin, and it is known as a wheat's milk. Now let's discuss about prolactin in detail. So as far as the prolactin is concerned, it is actually synthesized by the acidophilic cell of a adenohypophysis or the anterior pituitary. So it is very structurally similar to the growth hormone, and so it acts through the same mechanism by which the growth hormone will work, that is Jack and State pathway. Okay, now what is Jack and State pathway? How this Jack and State pathway will work, I already discussed in very detail in receptor and signaling chapter number 1. Now hypothalamus has a tendency to decrease the prolactin production by PIH. So hypothalamus is actually secreting the PIH hormone, that is prolactin inhibiting hormone. That PIH will ultimately decrease the prolactin secretion. That PIH is actually the dopamine. Now hypothalamus also has a tendency to increase the prolactin production by TRH. Now what is TRH? Thyrotropic releasing hormone. So hypothalamus can increase the prolactin production, hypothalamus can decrease the prolactin production by synthesizing the different set of the hormone. So PIH or hypothalamus will decrease the prolactin production by PIH and increase the prolactin production by TRH. Now which nuclei of the hypothalamus is going to secrete the TRH? This already I told you in our previous lecture of the thyroid and the corticotropin, cortisol lecture, that is paraventricular nuclei. Paraventricular nuclei of the hypothalamus will ultimately secrete TRH and CRH. Alright. Now PIH is synthesized in the arcuate nuclei. Alright. So and this PIH has a tendency to decrease the prolactin secretion as much as 10-fold. And the normal values of prolactin, see, in female it is 1.9 to 25 nanogram per ml, and in male it is 2.5 to 17 nanogram per ml. Now there is one MCQ is asked in the All India exam, that is the normal level of the prolactin, and they give you the 4 option, and the right answer is less than 20 nanogram per ml. Got it? One more thing, you see the TRH is stimulate or increase the production of the prolactin. See, this TRH, it is secreted by this violet colored nuclei. It is the hypothalamus, this one is the posterior pituitary and anterior pituitary. This arcuate nucleus will synthesize the PIH, and this violet color paraventricular nuclei will ultimately secrete the TRH. Now one more beautiful thing I would like to highlight in this slide is that TRH, thyrotropic releasing hormone, will increase the prolactin production. On the other hand, thyroid hormone itself inhibit the prolactin production. Alright, TRH will stimulate the prolactin production, while thyroid hormone is going to decrease the prolactin production. Now as we know that this thyroid hormone, this hypothalamus will secrete the PIH. But this PIH is going to decrease the prolactin production. Now this thing will happen normally. Now if you cut down this pituitary stalk, then what will happen? The PIH secretion will be cut down, so the production of the prolactin will increase. So once you cut the pituitary stalk, it decreases the secretion of all the hormone that is synthesized by anterior pituitary and anterior pituitary, but except prolactin. Prolactin synthesis will be increased because there is a negative inhibition, there is a inhibitory effect of the PIH will be nullified. Right? So all the hormone of anterior pituitary get decreased once you cut down the pituitary stalk, but prolactin secretion is increased because negative effect of the PIH is not there. Got it? So there might be asked in comment that prolactin secretion is increased once you cut the pituitary stalk. So you have to mention the PIH. If you cut the pituitary stalk, there are no more inhibition of the PIH over the anterior pituitary to secrete the prolactin. So the secretion of the prolactin will increase. Now galactokinesis. Now what is the galactokinesis? Galactokinesis is the milk ejection. The another name of is the milk let down. In different book they use a different terminology. Some it uses the milk ejecting reflex, some they do milk let down reflex. So this milk let down is actually depend on a sucking reflex. Now once the fetus or the newborn will start sucking the nipple of a mother, it is the release of the oxytocin, and that oxytocin will ultimately contract the myoepithelial cell that surround the alveoli. So this is the mammary duct, milk duct. These are the alveoli. Now this alveoli is surrounded by this myoepithelial cell. Now whenever there is oxytocin is higher range inside the circulation, then this myoepithelial start contracting and it will expel all the milk that is present inside the alveoli inside the duct. Got it? So that's how the milk ejection will take place by oxytocin. What oxytocin do? Oxytocin will causes this myoepithelial cell to get contracted. So whatever the milk that is stored inside this alveoli of the breast, it going to constrict this alveoli and release all the milk that is produced inside the alveoli inside this duct and ultimately to the nipple. Got it? So contraction of the myoepithelial cell that surround the alveoli, this entire thing is known as milk ejection. Now this milk ejection or milk let down or galactokinesis is known as a sucking reflex. So there are three names in the sucking reflex. One is the sucking reflex, second one is the milk let down reflex, third one is the oxytocin reflex. So the reflex is very simple, is simply shown in this diagram. Once the newborn starts sucking the nipple, it stimulates the tactile receptor that is present over the nipple. This tactile signal will somehow reach to the brain inside the pituitary. Inside the pituitary starts secreting two hormones, prolactin by the anterior pituitary and oxytocin by the posterior pituitary. Got it? Both these hormone will enter inside the circulation and reach to the breast. As the oxytocin reach to the breast, it contract the myoepithelium and expulsion of the milk will take place. This is known as a sucking reflex. It is also known as oxytocin reflex. Now in some books there is one more reflex they mentioned, that is a prolactin reflex. All the thing will remain same, only you have to write it down the prolactin and you have to write it down over the synthesis of the milk instead of the ejection of a milk. Got it? So let's see this diagram in a detailed manner. This is the steps. As the newborn starts sucking the breast, sucking the nipple, the receptor inside nipple gets stimulated. Impulse will be reached to the hypothalamus. Inside the hypothalamus, it stimulates the posterior pituitary, hypothalamic nuclei, and it starts secreting the oxytocin. Once the oxytocin will be released, it enters inside the blood, and via the blood circulation it reaches to the myoepithelial cell, and myoepithelial cell get constricted and milk ejection will take place. Right, so it is very long reflex, but it is appear, or the milk will appear inside the newborn's mouth within few seconds, right? And one more thing that I would like to highlight is the prolactin reflex. Same as the oxytocin reflex, there is a prolactin reflex. The only thing that is changed is that instead of oxytocin, you have to write it down the release of the prolactin. And what prolactin do? Prolactin will causes synthesis and secretion of the milk inside the alveoli. Got it? Now milk secretion will be started in response to sight, sound, or even thought of the baby. So physical stimulation is actually not required all the time. Got it? Oxytocin secretion can be conditioned. So not only oxytocin will be secreted by sucking the nipple, but oxytocin secretion will be conditioned once the mother thought about the baby, or even the crying sound of a baby, or even sight of a baby start secreting the oxytocin, and the milk letdown will take place. So how will you write it down, the sucking reflex? You have to write it down like this. When the baby sucks the nipple, sensory receptor that is located in the skin of a nipple gets stimulated. Impulses are transmitted to the hypothalamus and release oxytocin in the and prolactin from the pituitary. So if we mention about the prolactin, it is about prolactin reflex. Now as the oxytocin is carried in the breast through the blood, it causes the contraction of a myoepithelial cell and milk ejection will take place. So it is actually the neuroendocrine reflex. One portion of this reflex is the neural, the getting the signal and reach to the hypothalamus, and another portion of the reflex is the endocrine, the release of the hormone. Got it? This is all about the galactokinesis. Now let's discuss about the galactopoiesis, the maintenance of the lactation. Now you can see that this graph showing the actual level of the progesterone, estrogen and prolactin. So this red color line is the prolactin. So as the parturition, at the time of the birth, level of all the hormone get decreased, progesterone, estrogen and prolactin, right? For maintenance of a lactation we need prolactin. So there is an intermittent prolactin peaks will occur during the breastfeeding. So let's discuss the galactopoiesis. So the maintenance of a lactation is known as a galactopoiesis and it is done by the prolactin. Now after the parturition there is a decreased level of estrogen and progesterone, but the prolactin level is also decreased. But periodic surge of a prolactin during the each time of a suckling, whenever the newborn will feed, every time during the suckling there is a surge of prolactin secretion. This surge will maintain the lactation. Got it? Now one more thing, that is lactational amenorrhea. Now what is this lactational amenorrhea? Now the higher amount of the prolactin will ultimately inhibit the GnRH secretion. So inhibition of the GnRH secretion will lead to lower amount of LH and FSH secretion. So as there are no more FSH and LH, so ovary are inactive. So there are no more follicular growth, no more ovulation will take place, no more corpus luteum. So entire sequence of the event will be decreased or even absent. So ovaries are become inactive and ovulation is not there. It is inhibition of the ovulation and it leads to the amenorrhea. There are no menstrual loss. So this condition is known as a lactational amenorrhea. So if comment will ask like that, the prolactin level will lead to the lactational amenorrhea, or it might be also asked like that, in the lactating women there is a amenorrhea. So you have to write it down, these 4 sentences. The higher amount of the prolactin will be secreted in the lactating women. It leads to inhibition of the GnRH secretion. That inhibition of the GnRH secretion will ultimately decrease the LH and FSH level. So no more follicular growth inside the ovary, no more ovulation will take place, and it will lead to the amenorrhea. Now here's the thing, there is one pathological condition. That condition is known as Chiari-Frommel syndrome. Now what is this Chiari-Frommel syndrome? Chiari-Frommel syndrome is like that, there are persistence of lactation and persistence of amenorrhea. Why? Due to persistent secretion of the prolactin. So it is a very rare condition. In this very rare condition, there is a woman actually that do not breastfeed after delivery. That is shown in a modern woman. It is a very rare condition in women who do not breastfeed their child after the delivery. There are chances that there are persistent prolactin secretion will take place. That persistent prolactin secretion will ultimately leads to persistent of the lactation and amenorrhea. Its condition is known as Chiari-Frommel syndrome. Now the milk composition. Now as far as the milk composition is concerned, this one is the human milk. Over this side there is a cow's milk. So you can see that in humans milk there are higher amount of the lactose, while in case of the cow's milk the casein protein is at the higher rate. And the ashes that is shown over here are the electrolytes or the trace elements. So as far as the daily secretion is concerned, human can produce 1.5 liter per day milk is formed. Now this one is actually the according to the need of a child. If there is a twins or the newborn will need more amount of the milk, then the production will be increased. There is one more thing you need to understand, that is a colostrum. Now what is the colostrum? During the initial phase of a secretion, there is a deep colored fluid is secreted, deep yellow colored fluid is secreted in the mammary gland during the first few days of a postpartum period. It contains multiple type of the antibodies and other anti-infectious agents. It also secretes the WBC, including the neutrophil and macrophage, and ultimately it is lethal to the bacteria that causes the deadly infection to the newborn. Right? It actually destroys the Escherichia coli bacteria, which often causes the lethal diarrhea in the newborn. Now this is all about the lactation. Thank you.